You worked in Realme.
I was the founder for Realme.
Is that an Indian business?
It started with an Indian mindset completely, then it was taken over by Oppo. I think that's how it became completely as a Chinese brand.
How does a founder learn?
Go back to the books, read history. There's a solution to every problem lies back in our history.
Sales का fundamental क्या है?
Sales is an output of the right input functions. What are the right input functions? First is
When you hire someone, what are the three things that you look at the most?
long-term sustainability, how loyal he would be, how much I can trust him. Skill sets are not important for me.
Chinese wave also now is getting in a way over, according to you?
It's not getting over, but there's no one to be replaced. That is the biggest question.
So do you think all of them are capturing the data?
The biggest challenge in India, what I've seen, is convenience over security. When you are ashamed to share your phone screen with your partner, but the entire world knows about what you're doing.
My God, that's so scary to hear. Reliance, Tata, none of them have entered. Why has it been so tough? कि 20 साल में हम स्मार्टफोन इंडस्ट्री में वो डेंट नहीं कर पाए.
It's not necessary that you launch a product like a biscuit and it can work out for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the same product, same SKU. You have to upgrade it. Few celebrities around dancing for your phones does not mean it's an investment back in your country.
You scaled the business to 40,000 crores, you're saying. What was the playbook?
Everything else is a myth. Inventory is the reality.
What do you want to tell the 20-year-old who's listening to you?
Stop talking to people around you because they'll do nothing but they will scare you.
Anything that you want to tell the Indian consumers who are using Apple phones, Samsung phones, and so many different phones to protect themselves?
But you need to understand that are you being used as a product or you are using a product? You will become a product if you're using something for free.
Any point in time, the Apple hangover will ever be broken. So guys, as we said that we will bring an amazing guest every time when we do a podcast here so that all of you learn. Today we'll talk about hardware, software, smartphones, AI, founder journey, Indian telco, 5G, 4G. I don't know, lot more things that we're going to talk about because we have a special guest. Madhav, welcome to Kash the Akash podcast.
Thank you very much, Akash.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you in, and I was seeing your illustrious career, right? Starting from Harvard, St. Xavier's, whatnot. So why don't you just give a quick 120-minute intro about who's Madhav Sheth?
All right. So Madhav Sheth is not a great marketer. Let me put it very honest, right?
What are you saying? We'll figure it out on the journey. Here's the black coffee for you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm a product guy who has always been obsessed with product and the customer understanding of consumer psyche, building brands, understanding consumer cycles, building supply chain, building the fundamentals in the core of the business, because I've always believed that hype always kills. But what always stays is the fundamentals of and the values of the business. And I think that's what Madhav Sheth is all for.
Amazing.
So yes, I've always believed in product journey, consumer journey, building up the supply chain, building up the ecosystem.
Wow.
I think that's what it's all about.
And that's the tougher part,
Yeah.
People start up, they don't know the consumer journeys, and I think you spend a lot of time in that.
Yeah.
So journey kahan se shuru hui? Let's talk about that. Where did you start from?
Okay. So
which town? What's the beginning? Yeah.
I started from Mumbai, and I was selling recharges of smartphones for any of the smartphones.
Yeah.
Or feature phone.
Okay.
अगर आपको पता होगा तो basically initially back in 2000 there used to be a physical recharge vouchers.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people would not know about it.
Lapu recharge.
Yeah, so you used to scratch it and then you used to get the recharge amount and everything. So I used to do that. I used to sell and make money out of it, right? That's where exactly I got into telecom business.
Oh, were you in any of these large telcos or you had a retail shop?
No, not retail shop. I was in large telcos. Like at that point of time, it was like Orange. At that point of time, it was like Idea. At that point of time, then I also went on the distribution side. Then I also went on the work side, on the professional side. Because of all of this journey, I wanted to understand what is more beneficial and long-term sustainable for me.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So figured out journey from every perspective, being an employee, being a distributor, or being a salesman, or being a product guy, or being a, how do you hold a particular carton and take it to the retailer? How do you collect cash and bring it back? Because at that point of time, retailers only used to give cash.
Correct.
And collecting cash and carrying cash back to your office is a huge risk. And that was the biggest risk which we found out that probably doing in a mobile recharge business is all about.
Oh, yeah.
It was never about sales. It
Mhm.
was about collection. And how do you manage collection was the biggest cost.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
I think so. Every
Hmm.
business had its own challenges. So this is what I understood from every single journey. That is
Wow.
never about sales. And sales is always an output of whatever input you make it,
Ah,
whatever processes you make it.
yeah.
So you should never focus on sales, but always focus on the processes which leads to sales.
Yeah.
And that's
Can
all.
you explain this more to the normal user? क्योंकि सेल्स ना बहुत लोगों को डर लगता है सेल्स करने में,
Hmm.
और सेल्स का मतलब लोगों को शायद समझ में भी नहीं आता. You've done a lot of sales as beginning in your career.
Hmm.
Can you cut down the process of sales?
Hmm.
Let's say आज की डेट में D2C ब्रांड्स भी बन रहे हैं, स्मार्टफोन ब्रांड्स भी बन रहे हैं, AI भी बन रहा है. सेल्स का फंडामेंटल क्या है?
Sales ka fundamental is product first, right? I always say sales is an output of the right input functions. What are the right input functions? First is starts with consumer journey. Before the consumer journey, you have to understand what is the total addressable market. Like smartphone, 4 lakh से 5 lakh crore की market है. So even getting a 1% share out of it is 4,000, 5,000 crore worth of market share. What is the total addressable market? What is the product right fit for the market? What are the consumers' pain points? Once you understand all of these things, building up the supply chain, building up the most important thing is the right partnership, which will bring you the sales or which will lead to the consumers.
Yeah.
And then understanding the service backup of it, and which will all of these things will lead to one thing, which is trust and belief on your product.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people focus on marketing hype when they want to build up a product, which is like all the D2C brands today are doing it. But hype, I always say, it kills over a period of time, because as soon as you are out with your money, hype will die.
Correct.
Some other brands will take away that particular hype. What will stay is your basic fundamental grounding, which is your relationship, your product understanding, your supply chain value building, and all the trust what you have created in this journey.
Yeah.
And this trust and belief will lead to sales.
Correct.
That's how it is.
No, you're so right, because a lot of people say कि भाई sales करो, but what even I have learned in the journey of Zip कि अगर आपका product सही होगा, if customer is finding the value, the product should sell automatically without any marketing. That's when sales are happening, right? And I think हमने भी Zip में कभी marketing करी नहीं, राइट, बिकॉज हमने कहा कि हमारा कस्टमर डिलीवरी पार्टनर है, उसको कैसे मार्केटिंग करेंगे? उसको मार्केटिंग तभी कर पाएंगे जब प्रोडक्ट सही होगा, राइट? तो अब आपका प्रोडक्ट स्मार्टफोन, राइट, एंड आई थिंक इन दिस जर्नी ऑफ building your own brand, I would come to that a little later, but first, can you talk about smartphone sales, right? There were so many Indian brands at one point in time. There was Micromax, there was Karbonn, there was Lava, right? How were they doing and what went wrong in their journey?
I think it's more about, I would say, when they started this particular journey, they were only doing white labeling. They were never invested their profits back again in investing on designs, R&D, infrastructure, which would have lead and actually right capital also, bring in the right capital. If this, they would have invested on all of these things, they would have sustained. Smartphone is all about innovations. And out of 100 innovations, 99 would fail. But that one innovations will cover up the cost of all the 99. Spending on your R&D is equally important as soon as you start spending on your marketing also. So spending on all of this R&D is extremely crucial when you're working on this particular factor. They never did that.
Okay.
Point blank. So if they did not do it, you are definitely going to be taken over by some other brands who are doing it. So they were buying from brands who were actually their ODMs. Correct. Which is the original design manufacturers. Yeah. They eventually understood market from them because they were the suppliers to this brand.
Right.
And they eventually understood the market and they came directly into the market in India when the FDI opened up for 100% Chinese brands.
Okay. That's what went wrong with them.
Yeah, and they knew that probably they knew the entire value chain on how they manufacture, what is the cost they are selling to people in India.
Mm.
From the cost what they are selling to the people in India, it
Mm.
may be a Micromax or a Carbon or Lava.
Mm.
How they are selling it, how much money they are making out to the end point of consumers. So they
Mm.
figured out the entire value chain.
Oh,
Once they figured out the entire value chain, they started coming down in India directly
okay.
when the FDI was opened up.
And that's where the bus went wrong for them.
Yes.
Earlier, the Indian, so three problems that I understand. One, they never innovated.
Hmm.
They never invested in R&D.
Hmm.
Second, they didn't create any IP of their own. They were just, buying from possibly China
Hmm.
and just branding, putting their labels and selling it.
Hmm.
And they left it very open for the Chinese. As soon as it opened up the policy,
Hmm.
it just went out.
It just
Yeah.
went out. Yeah.
Hmm. And around that time, a lot of Chinese brands also came in,
Hmm.
right? So the Xiaomi, there was so many,
Hmm.
and that suddenly picked up. Like there was Oppo everywhere. There was a lot of brands.
Hmm.
So talk about that change.
So let me give you a brief history back in 2014 when the FDI was open for all the Chinese brands.
Okay.
It was not for Chinese brand, it was to bring the Chinese ecosystem to India.
Mhm.
The purpose of bringing Chinese ecosystem to India is for technology know-how transfer and technology transfer.
Okay.
It wasn't for only bringing Chinese brands into India, but it also paved the way for Chinese brands to come down to India and explore the market.
Sure.
But eventually, what happened? It was never the technology was transferred, neither the technology know-how was transferred.
Oh.
These brands just use India as a consumption market
Huh.
because India is the highest consumption market.
Correct.
These brands use India as a consumption market.
Yeah.
Showed 10 years as a loss-making business in India, but still continue to sell in India. Because eventually you can always figure out ways when you have entire value chain controlled by you.
Yeah.
Maybe your supply is your own company in China. Your buying company in India is your own company. So your transfer pricings have never been questioned.
Oh.
Your profits have never been questioned which country you will normally park with it.
Okay.
So your country of beneficiary is never India.
Oh.
You're only having as a consumption market.
I see.
Which eventually government understood and figured out that probably Vivo, where the CEOs right now is also having a lookout notices because they're still doing business of 60,000 crore in India. But while doing 60,000 crore in India, being a number one brand in India, the CEOs are on a lookout notice because they've been found in manipulating funds. They've been found in fudging funds back to China in illegal ways.
Oh, really?
And still they've been doing it while Xiaomi's funds were frozen in India. So they are being capex light, which means that probably they transferred their manufacturing to the low cost Indian manufacturers or Indian EMS partners, where they're only in India, they are using as a consumption market with no capital investments in India anymore.
Oh, which was the condition of the government
Yeah.
that if we allow FDI in India, that you got to invest in India,
Invest
you
in
got to build in
India.
India.
Yeah.
But none of that happened.
None of that happened.
Which is why the Chinese wave also now is getting in a way over, according to you.
It's not getting over, but there's no one to be replaced. That is the biggest question. Like we have two bigger challenges at this point of time.
Okay.
We are looking at digitalization in India. Point number one. For digitization, smartphone becomes the hub of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And when you cannot control the hub, you cannot control the ecosystem also.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
So it's a hub and spoke model,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And the ecosystem has always been controlled by a hub, and which has always been a smartphone. And the smartphone, there are no Indian champions, which was the scheme which PLI won was announced.
Yeah.
That we would want Indian companies to come forward,
Right.
and we will announce the PLI scheme for that. But eventually, Chinese figured out another way of doing it, where they shift their manufacturing from their own factories to the Indian EMS partners to get the PLI benefits out of it, thinking that the 4 or 6% whatever government is giving the PLI benefits will go back again to them.
Got it. And that was all figured out by the
Yeah.
government later on.
Yeah, this is all
Yeah.
figured out. Yeah.
And there were crackdowns. What kind of crackdowns were
See,
these?
no, government had eventually stopped giving PLI benefits to any of the Chinese brands,
Okay.
which was the original scheme. So for shift of manufacturing from one factory to another, just Indian EMS partner does not lead to any PLI benefits.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the base is that.
The base is same.
The base is same.
Right.
What could they have done right? Was there something that they could do or they can still do right as Chinese companies if they want to
See,
thrive in India?
the most important thing is they have taken India as an underdeveloped market like any other African market for them,
Mhm.
which means they're probably using the consumption of the market, but keeping the core technology back in their home country.
Mm.
This is what Japan did in 1950s to 1980s when China was a sweatshop back in 1980s.
Yeah.
And that's what China wants to do with any other developing countries.
Mm.
So that's the difference between a developing and an underdeveloped or a developing country.
Yeah, that's true.
So a developed country will always like to hold on to their technology, hold on to their patents rather than transferring it to the low cost countries because their cost of labor at this point of time
Mm.
is 5x higher than for what India is at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in China?
Yeah, I'm talking about China, yes.
Is it?
Yeah, the labor quite expensive in China.
Mm.
I'm saying is actually is 5x in China than in India at this point of time in electronic manufacturing.
Mm.
Hence, the only reason they are moving to more of robotics.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I was
Yeah.
about to ask that.
So the reason they are moving to robotics is because they know the average age of the population is 40 plus.
Mm.
The cost of living is higher.
Mm.
The cost of every single manpower is higher per hour.
Mm.
And cost of living is going up every single day.
True.
While when this is the biggest problem of any developed countries,
That's right.
where the cost of living increases every single year.
Correct.
And to be more cost competitive, the
Mhm.
only way is to have economies of scale.
Yeah.
And to bring economies of scale, they do not have a younger population. So robotics is the only way they can bring these economies of scale and still control the economy or the global scale of productions, right?
But I'm hearing that they've mastered the art of robotics. They are factories which are fully run by robots
Yeah.
throughout the night, throughout the day. There's no
Yeah.
human who's involved.
Yeah.
How true is that? Have you seen something like that?
I have seen that and I've heard that. It's
Hmm.
also actually in smartphone industries, in garment industries, which we call it as a zero light factory,
Hmm.
which means that there's no light required, but the production continues to happen day in, day out,
Yeah.
which is what is 100% robotics.
Hmm.
There's 100% precision behind it, and you get output the way you want it.
Hmm.
And that is where the things are moving in China faster. They're able to bring the economies of scale. So let me tell you one thing: between China and Taiwan, there's a $900 billion worth of exports only of hardware, electronics, and that to smartphones.
Yeah.
$900 billion worth of
Billion
exports.
dollars.
$1 billion worth of exports.
Wow.
India needs that exports. India is around 30 billion at this point of time, and that too we have just right now started doing the re-exports. What we are importing it from China, assembling, and we are re-exporting it back,
Okay.
which is the first stage of any of the country,
Mhm.
and that is very crucial.
Hmm.
But to move to the next stage,
Hmm.
from 30 billion to $900 billion worth of market, there's a huge scope in India,
Hmm.
right?
Correct. India is a huge consumer
So
market.
this is what I see. Not only India, but the global scale. If you see,
Yeah.
it's if this local consumption, forget about the local consumption, which we have 150 million handsets a year, which is roughly around 4 lakh to 5 lakh crore worth of, and still 30% of the population does not have a smartphone.
30%.
So if we have 1.5 billion people, we roughly have hardly 600 million smartphones at this point of time.
600 million smartphones in
600
India.
million smartphones and 300 million feature phones.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That probably if there are only 600 million smartphones, there are about another half a billion at least who will move to a smartphone.
That's true.
What does that mean? That probably if we have our own infra, there are half a billion smartphones, whichever has been sold, the profit will be reback invested into the same community which is in India. Or else we'll again shift the profits back to another country.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge what India is facing at this point of time.
Very interesting. So India का ये जो challenge है, right? How to solve that? How to make India the smartphone or the mobile or the hardware capital in some form?
There are multiple things, right? First of all, it all starts with that the entire ecosystem has to come together. Which is government has already initiated this.
Okay.
And government is very serious about it. You can see from semiconductor mission, you can see from PLI 2.0, you can see from multiple other schemes what they have launched, which is component manufacturing scheme, which is for the smartphones. So when we start with the assembly, then it moves to component manufacturing.
True.
Component manufacturing, then designing, then engineering. So it's the stages.
True.
So government has moved to component electronic manufacturing. And we can see a lot of applications coming down as a joint ventures to transfer that component manufacturing also to India. So it's a stages. It takes time.
Okay.
Shenzhen is today, in 40 years, one of the most developed country in the world, which used to be a shipping village back in 1980.
Yeah.
And now it is one of the most high tech and having the highest number of skyscrapers in the world.
That's true.
Right. So I think that's how the economic landscape changes when it's controlled by hardware exports and hardware economy. And that's what government is focusing on, that how can we become the not only the software exports, which can be replaced through AI,
Yeah, that's true.
but hardware export economy also at the same time, which hardware and software put together will build something which is stronger, sovereign, independent tech ecosystem in India.
बट स्मार्टफोन अभी कम से कम 30 साल नहीं 20 साल पुराने हो गए होंगे. Yep. They came in 2010, 2006 was the first iPhone, I think.
2007, yeah.
Yeah, 2007. So it's almost, almost turning 20 years now. 20 साल में आप कह रहे हो कि इंडिया अभी तक leapfrog नहीं कर पाया है in terms of hardware tech, in terms of, creating smartphones of its own. None of the large companies have also entered this space. Reliance, Tata, none of them have entered. Why has it been so tough कि 20 साल में हम स्मार्टफोन इंडस्ट्री में वो डेंट नहीं कर पाए जो कि हम कर सकते थे? बिकॉज कंज्यूमरिज्म तो हमेशा से था. हमें सबको पता था कि वी आर द लार्जेस्ट पॉपुलेटेड कंट्री एंड एवरीवन कैन नॉट सर्वाइव विदाउट अ स्मार्टफोन. इट्स अ ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी. What's stopping us?
First of all, is a mindset. Second is it's a heavy capex industry. Faster turnaround, higher risk of inventory, higher debt is a huge risk when you work into this industry, and it's an ever evolving industry. By the time you launch a product, it can be obsolete also.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's not necessary that you launch a product like a biscuit and it can work out for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the same product, same SKU for a 20 years time.
Yeah.
You have to upgrade it to the need of the consumers.
Yeah. It's an ever-changing
It's
market.
an ever-changing, ever-evolving industry.
True.
We have always been conditioned in India as a service exports market.
Yeah.
We started with the call center exports, and then we started exporting softwares around it.
Correct.
Because of K2000, which was year 2000, when
That's
we
true.
got a breakthrough to move to software exports, just for simple codings,
That's
right?
true.
That was a breakthrough for software exports for us. So I think we never thought about moving into hardware industry as such, because it's a high capex involvement, heavy machineries involvement. You have to design your own machinery. You have to put up a heavy capex into it, long cycles. At the same time, you are not sure about the returns, what you will get out of it.
That's
So
true.
it needs a patient capital,
Yeah.
long-term understanding, long-term visuality, long-term thought process, along with the support of the government, that this is the industry what we want to figure it out.
But something like that was also true for automobile, right? Like two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. But somehow I still feel that India has a lot more work that we've done in the automobile sector. We are now exporting a lot of two-wheelers, especially Hero, Bajaj are doing that. Cars also, right? While we have the technology transfer, but something worked in cars, which still was not able to, work out in the smartphone industry. Yeah. Is it because none of the large families came into it, or maybe you're right from one lens that it was ever evolving? The tech was ever evolving.
See, Reliance has tried smartphones.
They have.
They have stopped doing it now. They believe that probably the service industry for them is a high cash cow for them.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Getting into handset devices, they have tried it. It's not that they haven't tried
They,
it.
I think, launched with that, right?
They launch multiple devices like
Okay.
Agni, Vayu, and everything.
Achha.
Right? But as I said, it's not about failure or success in this industry. It's an ever-evolving industry. It doesn't work with a price band. It works with what does consumer need at what right point of time.
That's right.
Understanding consumer need 12 months ahead of the curve is what the product needs to be designed for.
That's so true. Now, अब स्मार्टफोन की बात करते हैं, right? Smartphones start from what? 5-6 हज़ार रुपए? 5-6 हज़ार से एक
Now
स्मार्टफोन.
it starts from 10,000, but I have launched at 6,000. Yes.
हाँ, you've launched at 6,000. तो 6-7 हज़ार में एक स्मार्टफोन मिल जाता है, right? और obviously it goes as high as the latest iPhone, right? Which is what, 1.5 lakh or something. So, what is the can you break the smartphone for us, right?
Mm.
What all are the key ingredients of a smartphone,
Mm.
and what are the cost parameters? What is the costliest thing in a smartphone?
First of all, it starts with engineering, designing, then chipsets, then PCBA designing,
Yeah.
then components assembling,
Yeah.
and then complete assembly of all of these things put together.
Right.
So there were 6, 7 different processes
Mm.
before we move to the final. And there are multiple components when we
Mhm.
are doing a PCBA design or when we are doing the components designing.
Yeah.
There are multiple components which needs to be designed and seen that how they functions together.
True.
And it all starts at the engineering stage
Correct.
and the designing stage.
Mm.
So first of all, in India, we do not have that mindset of engineering and designing, which where we are saying right now, the government is saying that we have to think about the design economy.
Mm.
Design is all about that probably how we can have the IP and patents built in India.
Mm.
Because until unless we do not have that,
Mm.
we'll only and only be focusing on transactional profit, which is
Mm.
trading.
True.
Until unless we do not have IPs built into it, we would not be able to create value for the country over a period of next few
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between
Mm.
value creation and transactional behavior,
That's true.
right? And that is what right now India is lacking about. So this entire journey, when we break it down, at the end of the day, is assembly and then packaging and then moving on to the consumers. All this journey, entire journey from engineering, designing, then chipset, PCBAs, moving on to components, and then to assembly. All of these stages takes at least 6 to 8 months to design a product.
Yeah. And how much investment roughly?
Uh, Here you cannot think anything less than 3 digits of crores, right?
Mm.
To think of also starting of one particular product to design and launch it,
Mm.
right? A minimum investment goes nothing less than 300 to 500 crore rupees,
Yeah.
even if you want to launch 2 products together,
True. True.
right?
That's true.
Right.
So 200-300 crore, 300-400 crore का investment,
Minimum,
right? And obviously long gestation cycle.
yeah.
And then by the time you launch, it might be
It might be
a
obsolete,
dated feature.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And just talk about your experience in building so many brands before you got into your own, right?
Mm.
You worked in Realme.
I was the founder for Realme, yeah.
You're the founder. Is
Yeah.
that an Indian business?
It started with an Indian mindset completely, then it was taken over by Oppo completely.
Oh, that was also taken.
And I think that's how it became completely as a Chinese brand
Okay.
eventually, yeah.
Mm. So Realme was one. Then you worked in Honor also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and just talk about your journey in all of these businesses. How it was changing and what was toughest for you to solve in those businesses?
One thing which I would definitely say, and which is very important, is scaling up without authority
Mm.
and scaling up without controls is not the right way of scaling up the businesses.
Mm.
So you can scale up the business, but if you still do not have the controls and authority over the business,
Yeah.
then probably you are doing a wrong thing for the business.
Mm.
So I figured out working for any of the international brands, and maybe a Chinese brand, that authority and controls were always one of the biggest challenge
Mm.
to keep it within India.
Sure. Sure.
And if you do not are able to author it or control it within India,
Correct.
and we just use India as a scaling market, then
Mm.
probably something which is missing out is that probably you'll never be able to drive the business the way you want it.
Okay. So
Right.
that was happening even in these businesses when you were there.
Yeah, so that's the biggest challenge, and that was one of the biggest reason I moved out of any of the businesses. And one thing which I figured out, that it was not about one company, but it was about every industry who wants to keep the control within their origin countries.
Mm. Correct.
So technology is more about controlling technology
Yeah.
rather
And
than
that control
passing on
should
to
be with you.
the controls should be there.
Mm.
And authority and controls, only scaling up does not matter. So I scaled up to 90 countries.
Wow.
Did business of around 40,000 crore even in a year. In India itself, I used to do 20,000 crore in India. But what did I learn from it? That scaling without control is useless. Is having no meaning at all.
Mm. True.
Secondly, at the end of the day, you're not doing anything for your bringing back to your own country. At the end of the day, all the IPs, all the profits are going back away. So you're
True.
not reinvesting back in your own community.
Yeah.
Having few celebrities around dancing for your phones does not mean it's an investment back in your country.
That's
It's for your sales, what you want to drive awareness for your brand.
correct.
And that is where I figured out that probably controls and authorship has to be mentored within the country
Yeah.
to make sure that you want to really build a global scale brand from India.
Yeah, no, that's right. As a CEO, if you don't have control on new features, if you don't have control on tech, you can sell to a certain extent, but फिर बाद में मजा नहीं आएगा. Yeah,
Controls over decisions are more
decisions
important,
are more important.
right, than any other features or specs. Controls or decisions are more important.
Okay.
Though I had a control on designing the product,
Okay.
but control on decisions without,
Mm.
as I said, without authorship does not make any sense.
But फिर भी you scaled the business to 40,000 crores, you're saying, right? 40,000 crores. What was the playbook? Can you take us through a scaling playbook? Because a lot of listeners here, they want to launch products, but they don't know how to scale. There are too many pieces in scaling, right? You got to get a lot of things right. And since you've mastered that art possibly in a few businesses, being the CEO there, just talk us what all you did. What all is the playbook?
The most important thing what a person should never do is scale fast.
Okay.
Growth should be sustainable. It should never scale fast. India is a very big market. People think that probably I can go and sell everywhere and anywhere because one product market or one product got some success in some areas. Probably I can sell it across India, multiply on Excel sheet. So second point, it comes down to inventories never are built on Excel sheets.
Yeah.
You have to focus on the real ground scenarios on what's happening with the inventories because everything else is a myth. Inventory is the reality.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
The money is already pumped.
Yeah. So all your Excel sheets and all your board meetings are useless if your inventories are lying in your warehouse.
That's true.
So right forecasting, understanding right demand, scaling up with right partnerships, scaling gradually, not growing too fast at a time, understanding the risk, keeping emotions aside while taking decisions, all of this are extremely important because when you're scaling up, I've always seen the biggest mistake is when you're growing faster. Any founders like me also, I made biggest mistake when I was growing faster rather than growing slower.
That's true.
Because when you're growing fast, you'll tend to make faster decisions.
Yeah.
Rather than getting into introspecting of your decisions, that how the decisions would impact your long-term standing and the impact in the market.
That's true.
So your decisions has to be in that way. So these are the 6-7 things which probably I have understood and learned from it, that probably you have to grow sustainable, take cautious decisions, even while scaling up. You have to take much slower decisions when you are scaling up rather than faster decisions.
Yeah.
Be more careful and more cautious in your partnerships, rather because your partnerships are something which will lead to your next growth level.
Got it. Any key partnership mistake that you want to talk about here?
Yes, I think when you are growing and when you are forced to grow, you will tend to meet people who are more transactional rather than strategic. What I mean is transactional, that when you are a CEO, that's one thing which I've learned, that you are not a CEO. Your value of a CEO is only until and unless you are sitting on that position. As soon as you walk down of that office, you have no relevance in the industry.
Yeah.
So your relevance in this industry is only connected to the positions you are maintaining in the system. As soon as you leave, people are extremely transactional, will move to the person who is connected to that particular position. So your loyalty shifts, and that's not how I'm structured. For me, loyalty means is a long-term trust and standing with you in whatever situation it is, regardless of situation, position, or the dynamics what is the industry throwing upon. And that's what always stands me apart, that probably and made me stronger, that loyalty and trust is always continue to stay. So your position being a CEO is a myth. The reality is that people are always transactional. People will change, the attitude will change, they'll stop picking up your phone, they'll even stop hanging around you, but they'll come along as soon as you are again back in the industry. So I always tell people, if you really want to be fight or get into the any other fight, be the part of the industry rather than being outside the industry. If you're a part of an industry in any form, at least you'll be able to fight. It's
Yeah.
always like, you are in a boxing ring. You have to be in the ring
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to fight the match,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
Regardless of whatever situation you are in. That's how
But
it is.
are you unhappy with any of these decisions that you made in the past of working with any of them?
Definitely, I think what I think is choosing the right team members, choosing the right partnerships have been extremely crucial for me. While some people have been extremely good, I think I have figured out that a lot of people have been extremely transactional to me, right? Choosing the right people, taking your time to choose people
Hmm. True.
is the most important thing any founder should do it.
Yeah.
Spend enough time before making a decision of choosing people.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And if you are in that race, I think that's so right that it's not an F1 race, right? Where you have to just
Yeah.
steer around and just don't worry about things. Obviously, that guy knows the game,
Hmm.
which is why he's riding the car. But
Hmm.
if you're steering a large ship called a business, you're responsible for so many people. And every step that you take, every decision that you make, every deal that you sign, every employee that you bring, every founder that you interact with, every partner that you sign, an agreement with, it has to be well thought out.
Yes.
It has to be ring fenced again, the entire business strategy, and then you go with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most importantly, also to the new founders, is important to bring the right investors into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the current mindset in India is more about quick entry and fast exit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest pain point in India at this point of time.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of founders to take wrong decisions in this journey of what they really have to do for the consumers.
Yeah.
They stop working for consumers, start working for investors.
That's
And when you
pity.
start working on doing that, at the end of the day, the investors, once the IPO is done, they will leave.
Yeah,
What is left is the company, and a dying company, and a founder.
that's true.
And to reset that company is one of the most difficult things. So let's focus on basic fundamentals
Correct.
rather than focusing on investors.
No, but I'm so happy to see the change which is now being seen in the Indian startup ecosystem. That there's a lot of talk about profitability.
Hmm.
There's a lot of question about when you can go IPO, right? And hence the VC industry is also slowly changing, is what I'm seeing. Any thoughts on that, according to you?
I may not comment on other industries as such, but in talking about the hardware industry, this VC industry in India is zero.
For hardware
Yeah,
businesses.
they don't know jack shit about this, right? It's a very sorry state that probably they're all from a well graduate schools, but having a very herd mentality. They don't even understand that how R&D works and how long the cycles are.
Yeah, that's true.
But they want to build something which is more substantial. So I have always seen there's a missing understanding of patient capital in India.
Yeah, true.
Right.
That's so rightly said.
So uh, that's only and only found in more of a Silicon Valley and maybe Japan or something in China, which they have already done it in the past.
Yeah.
And they understand that building an IP requires multiple failures, but building an IP will create a long-term revenue for the company and the fundamentals of the company.
Yeah.
But that patient capital, nobody has it in India. It's always a herd mentality, and it's a very sorry state that probably they are from the one of the best graduate schools, but they don't jack shit understand anything about the industry, right?
Is there something that can be done to change that in the VC ecosystem, especially for hardware businesses?
Set up an example like what I am doing right now, and let them run behind you. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Because until unless you start convincing them, I did that for some time.
Okay.
I wasted my time doing it. I think so. Right? It's better to set up a right example and let them run behind you.
But any examples in the hardware industry which have worked so far?
None.
None.
None. And that's the biggest reason. That's what I said, herd mentality.
That's the biggest reason.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, there has been no Indian brand in the ecosystem. Nobody has invested in R&D. Nobody has invested in India. The biggest industry what anybody would like to invest would be a capex industry, because they can see a machinery,
Mm.
they can see a land, they can see a building, they can see the machinery being imported and the capex being there. But they do not understand the business has been only been driven by brands and the IPs what they create.
Mm.
The business and the value will be always generated by the brands who do the business.
Yeah.
They are just a job work people who will be doing the assembly and the manufacturing for them.
True.
So, but people in India or maybe certain VCs don't understand this concept.
Mm. But is smartphone industry also like a brand game that hey, I create a brand, I create a couple of unique features, and I pump in the money, and the smartphone is built. I mean, what is the differentiator that someone can create?
First of all, we need to understand it's not about just creating a smartphone.
Okay.
Smartphone requires more than 3,000 different components.
Mm.
How they are going to talk to each other is one of the most difficult thing anybody would want to understand.
Yeah.
That. So it's all about engineering and designing. That's point number one.
Mm.
Point number two, bringing all the component ecosystem from different parts of the world
Mm.
and bringing it back to India and assemble it and manufacture it in India.
Mm.
That's point number two.
Mm.
Understanding the need of the consumers is point number three.
Mm.
Point number four is bringing at the right time. Going to the market is point number four.
Yeah.
Point number five is making sure that the consumers trust you, because the consumers are going to spend 3 years with your phone.
Correct.
That's the current lifespan of any replacement cycle of a smartphone, which is 18 to 24 months on a bare minimum side,
True.
and 3 years to a certain extent.
Mm.
Right. So if you're spending 24 to 36 months, then what would be the replacement cycles and how will I be able to service for the next 24 to 36 months to this consumer?
Mm.
How can I build the trust and create an ecosystem and cross-sell another products around with it?
Yeah.
So all of these things requires a lot of patience and understanding of the supply chain, brand, and the products.
And requires a lot of capital.
Super capital. Right.
Yeah. Which is very interesting, and you building a new phone is what I hear. Yeah. Can you show this?
Yeah.
It is. How much of this is built in India now?
See, domestic value addition, we call it, how much is built in India is called a domestic value addition.
Okay.
So the domestic value addition is currently ranging between 70 to 80%, 20%, which is in around India, 20 to 30% is India, 70 to 80% has been imported
Okay.
because of the maybe chipset, displays, display fabrication. Like you asked one of the question that what are the most important and the costliest component around it.
Yes.
So chipset is there, display is there. This would actually cost roughly around 40 to 50% of the phone cost.
The display and the chipset.
Displays, chipsets, and then comes multiple other sensors like camera sensor, everything. All this would cost around 50 to 60% of your smartphones, right? And then making sure that probably there are other 3,000 smaller components assembling together, and we are putting it back to the consumers in the right format. And then the software on top of it.
Yeah.
And making sure that the near future, how can we build the data sovereignty back in India? Because the new age, I think the most relevant point at this point of time is about the data.
Yeah.
Right now, having 80% Chinese smartphone brands, having no data bill right now, data protection bill for the consumers. We do not know how our consumers' data has been shared, because we have a fingerprint sensors, our facial expressions, everything been stored on the phone. So having the data sovereignty back in India, controlling that particular thing is going to be the key, most important thing, which will build the trust on the brand over a period of time.
But what is the current split of sales of smartphones? I think India का तो कुछ भी नहीं है.
India का मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, domestic value addition is around roughly between 20 to 30%.
20-30%.
Yeah.
And 70% you would attribute how much to China or that?
Would be roughly around more than out of 70 would be more than 50% would be from China. Yeah.
More than 50%.
Yeah.
और ये जो Android phones में preloaded apps आती हैं बहुत सारी, right? Especially. So do you think all of them are capturing the data, and is it going back to China, or where is it going?
See, it is going back to the app servers back wherever they are. But the data can be taken by 4 different measures.
Okay.
One is on the OS level. Then one is on the UI UX level. One is on the app level. And one is on your data which you are storing on the phone and on the camera which you are capturing, and you are giving access to the apps. So there are multiple layers where the data are being shared, right?
True.
So we do not know. What did I say? That data sovereignty is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
How sovereign are we?
Mm.
That is the most important aspect. What we need to ask ourselves, that how these apps are being used,
Yeah.
right? So there are a lot of apps which you have to install on your phone.
Correct.
You wouldn't have, like, say for example, just a very small example. Nobody uses Facebook on their phone, but Facebook is pre-installed on the phone.
Yeah.
So Facebook has an access to all the data because it captures the background data.
Mm.
How many people go to the settings and switch off the data sharing to this particular apps?
Correct.
I always have requested to all the people whomever I have met, whichever apps you are not using, go back at least once in a month to the settings and stop sharing your sensitive data to these apps, which are just lying on your phone, which is extremely important.
Wow.
And start questioning that why certain apps are taking your camera access.
Yeah.
Why does it require it? Why certain apps are taking your voice access? Why does it require it?
Yeah.
While India still does not have the data protection bill, but at least you can start being alert by yourself that what exactly you can do.
Wow.
But I've seen a lot of people are extremely casual. The biggest challenge in India, what I've seen, is convenience over security.
Yeah.
People will always choose convenience over security.
That's true.
बोले कि हमारा क्या लेके जाएगा. It's not about हमारा क्या लेके जाएगा. It's about that your fingerprint sensor, your digital footprints are mapped every single places.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Right? And when your fingerprints, your digital footprints are mapped everywhere, when you are ashamed to share your phone screen with your partner, but the entire world knows about what you're doing. It's like that, right?
My God, that's so scary to hear.
I have seen a lot of people say that I don't show my data to my partner.
Yeah.
I don't want to show what my phone does. But they doesn't know that your phone is being shared to the rest of the world, but apart from your partner. So by the way, we already sold more than 1 million units.
More than 1 million units sold? Wow,
now,
in how much time?
In less than 7 months. Yeah.
In less than 7 months, 1 million phones sold.
Yeah.
Wow. Is this mostly online, offline?
Mainly online.
Mainly online? Yeah. Where all do you sell this?
I only sell on Flipkart. As I said, I don't try to expand faster.
Yeah.
It's slow and gradual. So, right, I believe in stronger partnerships, strategic partnerships, long-term commitments. True. And building brands together.
And so your phone price starts at 6,000, you said?
Yeah, 6,000.
6,000. This one is how much?
This one is around 12,000. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a low cost, entry phone. Yeah.
And that's where the market gap was, right? We figured out that probably there are more than 350 million feature phones who wants to upgrade to smartphones. But all the Chinese smartphone ecosystem starts from 10,000 rupees at this point of time. So why people are not been able to upgrade in India is from 1,500 rupees feature phone, which is the ASP of a feature phone, average selling price of a feature phone,
True.
to a 4G or a 5G feature phone, which starts at 10,000 rupees. There's a huge price gap. And that's where I see the white space into it. Okay. And if you're able to fill up a white space, that's where you fill up the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. But you still say that your phone is also about 70-80% built outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when assembled in India.
So data would still be a little compromised. No?
See, that's hardware. Sure. Software sovereignty I have built in India.
Okay.
We built up a layer in India where we already have a next quantum dashboard and privacy dashboard on our phone. We have made sure that there are 30 telemetric data of the consumers. They are stored in local servers back in India itself. Okay. We have shown the apps because right now the data protection bills are not there. So we have made a data privacy dashboard on our phones.
Okay.
We show that probably which apps is taking what type of data.
That's very good.
And you have a right to choose that you can stop accessing that particular app or data. Like in Europe or US, you can still have a choice of using and going ahead and using any app even after not giving certain permissions.
Yeah.
In India, the only thing what we do is okay, and the apps are installed.
Or auto take.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not how in Europe or US works.
It's GDPR there.
Yeah. There are GDPR laws.
Correct.
Which is supposed to be implemented in India over a period of time, which will give us an access to apps without sharing our data and most important telemetric data.
Yeah. But that's the data protection bill that you're talking about.
Yep.
Any talks about that in the chatter about that in the
That's
government?
already passed in one of our parliament, but I think it's about to be implemented.
Okay.
They've implemented a lot of things like IP cameras. They've implemented in certain sensitive products. They are starting going to implement in all the categories over a period of time. I think they have to and they will. Eventually, it's all about that. There are three aspects in this. One is government, who will bring down the policy and awareness. Second is the industry,
Yeah.
who has to educate to the consumers and implement what the government does. Third is the consumers, whom we have to make sure that probably they are aware of it,
Yeah.
right? Because consumers awareness is what consumers can do at max.
That's true.
Rest of the things are driven by the government and the brands. So consumers should be aware how their data is being used. It's
Yeah.
more about informed decision
Yeah.
rather than being an uninformed decision, right? And here the industry is all controlled by foreign brands.
Yeah.
So they will be shit bothered about any of the compliances
That's
in
true.
India itself,
That's
right?
true.
Neither they will be bothered about the consumers' data in India.
But anything that you want to tell the Indian consumers who are using Apple phones, Samsung phones, and so many different phones to protect themselves, कुछ दो तीन tips आप देना चाहोगे to the users?
Most importantly, first of all, I have seen an average user does not use more than 50 or 20 apps. But
True.
we install 50 apps because we are inclined to function in that way that we create the social media creates FOMO. And that FOMO of we missing out on something what others already have it.
Yeah.
I think we should first of all lose out on that, and we should delete all the apps which we have never used from last 1 month.
Perfect.
Secondly, all the apps, whatever you are currently using, we should get into the settings and see that probably if you are not using that app, stop giving the permissions of sharing your sensitive data to them, which may be accessing your camera or anything as such, right?
Yeah.
They're very important and very crucial.
True.
Third most important thing, any apps which are accessing your camera and photo gallery, you should be very cautious in sharing that particular thing. Because sharing, you may not be sharing your personal photographs to your friends and your family, but they have access to everything. And that's what exactly happened with Chinese fintech companies in India.
Okay.
When they started giving small loans to the small people in India with a high interest rate. If you remember, few of the more than 200 or 300 Chinese apps were banned in India.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reason was the Chinese fintech companies who used to give easy loans in India. But they used to have access to your WhatsApp contact and your photo galleries.
Okay.
So once you don't pay your loans, they used to take your sensitive photos and share it in the WhatsApp groups, your family groups, your friends and everything. And that's where a lot of suicide cases started happening.
Really?
Yeah. That's how it's serious it is, right? So you have to be extremely careful in doing while you're doing this, right?
That's super
So,
scary. That is
having that photo gallery on your phones, sharing access to your apps, giving access to your apps is not right. Load it to cloud or download it in one of the hard disks. Keep your phone clean. So at least your sensitive data, which you think that are safe, if against your partners, they are not safe because the world has an access to it.
Wow, that's super scary using a smartphone for everyone. Limit access, full access, and all of that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Be very cautious and
Be
but
very
who
cautious.
is to be trusted then?
It's not about trust. The phone is a device which you need it. It's a most of the important communication device. But you need to understand that are you being used as a product or you are using a product? You will become a product if you're using something for free.
True.
So first and most important thing, if you're downloading something which is for free, which means you will be used as a product over a period of time.
True. You're the algo. You'll train the algo.
You'll train the algo and you'll be used it.
Correct.
None of the AI companies right now who are giving you for free certain access, they are nothing doing it for charity. They are understanding you. They are understanding your strategies and they're giving their strategy for free to the world.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. A lot of people have said that why are you giving your data? What the questions what you are asking and the strategy what you are sharing online is been and having an access to the world now. Because like say for example, very simple, a marketing calendar. If I want to build today, it can be built in few minutes.
Correct.
Online. But it is not that trained data from me. It's trained data from all world. And they're trying to collate that data and give it to me one of the best results out of it.
Correct.
So I never like to share my strategies on online or ask any question which will lead to my strategies going out.
So use it for building your strategy, but don't give out your strategy is one of the things when you're using AI.
So you have to be very careful on how you're doing it.
Yeah.
How you're training that model. Right? Because over a period of time, the objective of AI is to make sure that you are redundant and you are dependent on them.
Correct.
Right.
That's true.
While the human brains are more functional than any of the AI LLM models.
Human brain is the biggest AI, which none of the AIs can copy.
Cannot be replaced.
Yeah,
Human
yeah.
emotions cannot be replaced, even
Correct.
though, however, we train the models,
True.
they cannot be replaced.
Mm,
The human thinking process, the contextual process,
true.
the way we think and way we can, execute things can never be done by an AI model.
True.
All of these things has to be kept with human,
Yeah.
and that is what the edge in the future will always remain: the people who can think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
How to use AI because your phone also says that it's an AI phone,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk about AI, right?
Let's understand one thing: any feature on any phone is to help you build the productivity and increase your productivity.
Sure.
What is tech? Let me put it and simplify it in one simple line. It helps you to improve your day to day productivity and shorten your time frame for anything which you are doing it. For any task which takes you an hour, a tech which you may use it may finish it in a minute. That's what tech is all about.
Correct.
It may be a camera on your phone, or it may be an AI algo on your phone. Something which helps you to increase your productivity is what you should be using AI for. AI is a very good thing. It's a predictive. A lot of people do not understand AI. AI has been since 1960. AI was always there. Right now, currently, is more about predictive and generative AI.
Yeah.
They're predicting your historical data and questions and generating the data from your own historical data.
Correct.
And giving you an answers.
That's right.
So they're giving you nothing great.
Yeah.
They're only predicting what you have asked in the past
That's
and
okay.
generating a new answer out of it and giving you an answer.
Correct.
That's what AI does.
AI can never give you what's going to happen next.
Right.
The past amalgamation of too many things which are done is shown to you, but the new thing will always come from the human mind.
So
Yeah.
the new evolution will always
the
be
new
done by
disruption.
humans, right?
Yeah.
And that is what we need to understand, that humans can never be replaced by an AI. It's just another a feature which will help you to increase your productivity.
Yeah.
You should use to help increase our productivity. It may be anything as simple as photo editing tool, video editing tool,
Correct.
and email writing tool.
Yeah.
A thing which can save your time.
That's true.
Like I was talking to a mother, I said that probably you can just put up AI bot onto it and make sure that probably you can go back to sleep while you are going for a parent children's meeting. They can record and give you a summary of it while you are in an online meeting. They can record and give you a summary of the meeting, so you can save your time. You can still have a nap. That's how you can use an AI.
True.
The idea of using an AI is to save time for yourself and increase your productivity. It's as simple as that.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. New business ideas के बारे में बताइए, right? In your industry or outside of the industry, do you think of any disruptive business that maybe Madhav is not starting, but someone else can who's watching us?
I'm very inclined in your industry, which is EV. EV is a connected ecosystem of a smartphone.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think one thing which I believe when you spoke about automobile industry in India, one thing which I cannot see is the battery tech evolving in India.
Yeah.
Which I have seen in China, Taiwan, Japan, and US happening around, which is not evolving in India.
Correct.
I think EV is a great future, but we are too much behind the technology, and I think it's one of the connected ecosystem devices.
It is.
So if you see in China or Japan or US, they all tech companies are building EVs now. The reason, because it's one of the part of the connected ecosystem. It's again nothing but another smartphone,
Absolutely.
a display,
Correct.
a battery,
Yeah.
and a software.
And a software.
Just you are changing the mold of it.
True.
From a smartphone to a
To
carrier.
automobile. Yeah, correct.
Right.
No, and I think I totally agree with you that India is still suffering the same thing which is happening in the smartphone world, in the EV world. That China and the other world is so far ahead that they end up, taking whatever has been built here, and which is why the same thing happened in India also. A lot of EV first companies died because they were making the same mistakes which the Indian smartphone so-called companies did, right? They just copied everything. They didn't do any R&D. They didn't do any innovation and just vanished.
See, now in EVs, if I have to speak, it's not about, this was all the German companies who made this myth in India or the world, that kilometers per hour
Yeah.
or 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. who in India needs that? Who in the world needs that? The top speed in India is 60 or 80 in any of the road. Above that, you will be fined. The new need of an hour is to have a stable car
Yeah.
which does not shake even in the bad roads,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Which is
That's the need of India.
that's a need of India,
Yeah.
which means a stable car even in any situation.
True.
That's one of the most important things. So it's not about speed.
Yeah.
It's
Correct.
about, because anytime you go above 100, you'll be fined.
India, you
So
can't speed
even
only. There's so much traffic. That's another
forget
thing.
about India, any part of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
world,
that's
there are
true.
only few countries
Yeah.
and few roads in that
Few
countries
roads.
allow that speed.
That's true.
Including London, they don't allow.
Correct.
Even in Germany, there are only few roads that allow doing that. Not every single road allows you to speed up at 200 miles an hour,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So why do you need that?
Mm.
What you need is a battery technology. What you need is a stable, I think, engine or whatever you call it, is basically a car which can be stabilized in even on the bad roads
Yeah,
without having any shakiness.
that's true.
So I think that's where I understand the consumers, that this is what the EV needs are, right? And building that battery tech where you can have 1,000 kilometers charge, a single charge, is something what current pain point would be. So I think that's an industry which I'd be definitely inclined to, right?
Wow, that's so true. I
Yeah.
mean, EV industry is very exciting, and which is why I think we picked the software side of that, right? That let hardware be someone else's problem. हम लोग सॉफ्टवेयर से सॉल्व करते हैं द गिग इकोनॉमी राइट हाउ अ गिग इकोनॉमी कैन अडॉप्ट एन इलेक्ट्रिक स्कूटर and get an uptime is what we end up solving for. And I think there's an infrastructure play, there's a battery swapping play, there's
Yeah.
the vehicle play.
It's
And
amazing.
stuff like
Yeah.
anytime you want to do EVs, happy to chat on that. But do you think that AI in smartphone, how it is gonna evolve? Today it's just chat GPT, tomorrow what it's gonna be on the smartphone?
It would be more predictive, more contextual, more ease of use, more predictive in a way that probably you will be doing more voice functionality than rather than searching for any particular thing. Your apps would have more access to your data, which means that probably they would know more about predicting what you would really want it. So it would be more contextual, more generative, and more user friendly for the users in the near future, where you do not have to go and type into search. Maybe one single button can help you doing a lot of things. Right.
Maybe more talking, right? Just do this for me.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's again sharing a lot more data?
That is definitely, like, if you say that book a flight for me and make sure that probably it's been paid from one of the cheapest flights on any of the website, they'll book and they'll do everything. But which means that your data has already been there. So eventually they'll monetize that particular thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it is.
Now let's talk about your business, right? Creating a business after working for so many years. How easy that shift?
I think I've always been on the entrepreneurial journey. Like Realme, which I built, was also an entrepreneurial journey as a risk. So for me, taking risk is not a, I would say it's not a pain for me, because I think I've seen enough and more brands and the failures and the problems around it. So I don't think so it's a challenge for me to start any other own brand. But more about is I have a very clear focus on what goal, what I want to achieve. So the risk is not something which I think about it.
But what do you want to tell the 20-year-old who's listening to you, that for them risk is everything? How to come out of that situation that, hey, I want to do something, but that's very risky. And that's where a lot of people don't jump.
First of all, I would say to any of the youngster who is 20-year-old, stop talking to people around you. Right, because they'll do nothing but they will scare you, because you're talking to a person who does not understand the jack shit of what vision you are carrying around it. That's point number one. Point number two, understand the market and understand what your hunch says. And because your market understanding of what you want to do, if the total addressable market is big enough and you can think that your 0.5% can also make you 1,000 crore out of it, then you should definitely do it. Right. Point number three, you have to understand what is the differentiating problem you are trying to solve for the consumers. If you're not solving anything, you're not doing anything right for your product. If you're able to solve a problem for the consumer, that's the product what you should be building on it. Right. So if you are right on these three parameters, if you are able to solve a consumer problem, in any of the product which you are trying to launch. And that market is big enough that even a smallest market share will gain you 1,000 crore, not valuation, but your company's own worth,
Business.
business, revenue,
Revenue. Yeah.
right? Forget about the valuation.
True.
And most important thing, stop focusing on the valuation of the businesses. Valuation will come once you have the right product and the right understanding. Right?
Yeah. How does a founder learn? Founder like you, right? How do you learn? How do you cope up with the latest what is happening? Are there tools? Are there podcasts? Are there movies? What do you learn from?
Most important thing is you have to be dedicated to your work for more than 16, 18 hours a day. Constantly checking the trends, what's happening in the market. There are no tools as such. When you are leading a market, when you are doing something which nobody has written, I do not have any playbook in India to figure out something. But I have many case studies learned around in the world for the failures and successes around it. The most important thing for any person should, rather than getting into any tools, go back to the books, read history, because I believe that there's a solution to every problem lies back in our history.
Wow.
Because there was no telecommunication, but still there used to be problems. Back in our ancient times, the kings and everyone, they used to still have the problems, all the modern day problems, what they used to have, how they used to solve it without using the telecommunications or without using the technology. If you are able to learn back from your history,
Wow.
that's where you get the solutions.
That's a beautiful way of thinking, that find the problems of current in history. Give me an example of how you would have solved one of these problems like that.
Let's say and understand one thing, a simple logic, that probably back in 1500s, all this communication problems of how does a king manage his kingdom without technology, they still used to manage the entire kingdom. They still used to go for fights, wars, and make strategies around it. They still used to have spies around in different companies or different countries to figure out that what is going to be the next attack and where the attacks are going to be. Right? How they used to manage the situation, how they used to fight this wars. Like, let me put it a very simple method of doing things. It's an analogy, but this is how I figure out.
Sure.
There's a free bread philosophy in Greek.
Okay.
Free bread and circus. What is free bread and circus? What I call is today's free social media. When Greeks had enough of problems back in their country, what did the emperors do? They started giving free bread, and they opened up the circus, which was the gladiators used to come and fight.
Yeah.
It was a distraction from the problems. So when you have a bigger problem, you find out something which is entertainment and a distraction. So what does people need? Free food and entertainment.
Correct.
That's what the Greek emperors did, which is free bread and circus.
That's true.
So Colosseum
Yeah.
was nothing but a circus.
Correct.
Where people are the gladiators used to come and fight. There was epidemic in Greece, right? But people started thinking about they are getting free food and free entertainment.
Yeah. They forgot about the.
They forget about the epidemic. This is without the technology. This is how the emperors used to think about and solve their problems, which means it's a psychological myth. But this is how a lot of companies or countries do today.
Yeah.
To cover up the smaller issues, they try to create a bigger issues around it.
Yeah. That's true. That's
So-
very interesting. That's
Yeah.
very interesting way to think about it.
Uh,
But tell me about a smartphone again. That a smartphone can be built in 10,000 also, and a smartphone is sold at 2 lakh also, right? What's the difference in that? How much is the brand play? Talk about that
So-
also. Let's talk about Apple.
I'll tell you one thing which I learned in last day in my college was Felix Oban, which was my Harvard professor for strategy.
Okay.
He told me one thing, Madhav, strategy is nothing but a simple tool which says a difference between a willingness to pay for a consumer and willingness to buy. So what is your consumer willingness to pay for you?
Yeah.
and how much are you buying it, which means your suppliers
Mm.
are selling you at what price.
Mm.
And the difference between that is your profit.
Correct.
The more the difference you create,
Mm.
that's the brand value.
Mm.
Because if your consumers are willing to pay you more, which means you are building up a brand.
Mm.
But the commodity is at the same X.
Correct.
Commodity for you or commodity for any other brand is at X.
Mm.
But the willingness to pay above X
Mm.
and willingness for your suppliers to pay you below the price of yours, because you are giving volumes,
Huge volumes.
huge
Yeah.
volumes. So your willingness to pay and willingness to buy increases. The difference between that is the brand value, and that's the profit what you generate.
Mm.
And that's the simple strategy.
Correct.
Strategy is nothing. I do not go for any fancy PPTs. This is the simple strategy. How will your consumers willing to pay you more than your competitors?
True.
How does your suppliers is willing to sell you lesser than your competitors?
Isn't that the effect of scale?
One is economies of scale for sure.
Mm.
Definitely yes.
Mm.
But at this point of time, you also need to understand that are you able to solve your supplier's problem?
Mm.
The most important thing, you will bring economies of scale over a period of time.
Mm.
But for that, you need to bring up a supplier at your scale
Mm.
who is also starting up with you
Mm.
and who is willing to grow with you.
True.
And if you are able to solve that problem,
Yeah.
and he's also at start of his entrepreneurial journey.
Correct.
Like say for example, I started with a lot of component manufacturers who do not know where to start from,
Mm.
because entire brands are all from China,
Yeah.
but the Indian ecosystem does not have any scope to get in.
True. True.
But if I am able to help him to get in, which I'm solving his problem,
Mm.
he'll be able to support me over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So it's all about mutual, stronger partnerships, and where you scale it up together.
Yeah.
That's where your
Absolutely.
value
That's
builds.
that's the right way to build.
That's how it is,
Yeah.
right?
Do you think any point in time the Apple hangover will ever be broken?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Mhm.
The reason is because brands have been built on multiple learnings and the failures what they've gone through. Apple has gone through bankruptcy in the past. Coming down from bankruptcy, coming down to what they want to do it right now. They build up an ecosystem.
Mm.
Building up that ecosystem is not a day's job, and brands are not built over a few years. It's built up on strong foundation. What you see Apple and what I see Apple is a very different story. What I see Apple is invested back in supply chain component ecosystem. He's one of the smartest company in the world that probably he has built their partnerships like with people like Foxconn who manufactures everything for them. So all the blue collar jobs are outsourced. But he only and only manufactures for Apple. All his component suppliers only and only exclusively manufactures for them without him investing in any of the component systems.
Because they built that.
They
40
build
years
that
back, 20 years
partnerships
back.
20, 30 years back. They build that partnership. They build that economies of scale together at the same time. They started together, they scaled up together, they built up long term together. So it's a foundation. And foundation is not something which can be broken over a period of time. It's built up scale. The only way I can see that probably if they stop innovating, because this industry is all about innovation.
That's true.
If they stop innovating, if they're not able to bring something which is very differentiative, that's where I see that Apple going down.
That's
Until
true.
unless I don't see any ways, they've been failing down, right?
Any few features.
One of the things which I would definitely like to
Go
tell
for
about
it.
Apple, right? They did not get into this AI race.
Yeah.
You will never see Apple into any AI race because they understand that AI is just a feature. And if you are investing too much money into AI, it's a bubble which will burst. It's better to hire an AI rather than you building your own AI LLM modules.
Yeah, that's true. That's too much of investment also.
Right? Why
Focus
you
on
need
the
to do
core.
that? Right?
Focus
Focus
on
on
your
the core.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
focus is one of the most important thing which any of the founders should understand. What is your core business? If you start, see, doing a pivot in between for a better thing is not a wrong thing to do. But if you stop focusing on core businesses,
Yeah.
which is making money,
Yeah.
and you start focusing on 10 different things which you think that it might make money, is one of the biggest blunder which every founders make. Yeah.
But a lot of people are now saying over the last couple of launches that Apple is now losing the power of innovating, right? Which they used to do so well. It's what do you have to say on that? Are they innovating lesser?
I wouldn't say that. Still, yes, I believe that the pace of innovation has slowed down.
Hmm.
I would not say that they have stopped innovating,
Hmm.
but you really need to understand what does innovation mean
Hmm.
in a short term, solving some customer problems.
Yeah.
They have to figure out the new customer problems to solve for it.
Hmm. Sure. No, but the
Right?
customer is always looking for a flip, or the
I don't think so.
no.
Flip or fold solves any customer problem. It's an aspiration.
It's an
Tell me,
aspiration.
how does a flip and fold solve any customer problem?
Bigger screen. That's all.
How many times will you open up in a day?
I've never used a flip, but
Or
I've been reading
so
about
the
it.
point is,
Yeah.
when I've seen we
Hmm.
have the data,
Hmm.
even for fold phones, it's a good to have an aspiration phones. While
Hmm.
Apple will also launch a fold phone,
Hmm.
but at the same time, the data very categorically says that the front displays are 80% majorly used in your day-to-day time.
Hmm.
It's only at the time of the content viewing when you open up this particular
Hmm.
phone or your display. And a lot of times you have a hinge on the display, so you probably are not interested in having that sort of experience on your phone.
Yeah.
So a lot of this type of thing. So it's an aspiration to be differentiated.
Hmm.
It is not an aspiration of a technology. It's an aspiration to be differentiated.
Hmm. What is the biggest thing that sells in an Apple phone, according to you?
The biggest thing, what I believe in any Apple phone itself, is peace of mind.
Hmm.
He's able to build that trust in the consumer.
Hmm.
That if you buy an Apple, entire Apple ecosystem. So there's a survey. If you buy one Apple product, there are 20% chances of buying a next Apple product. But if you buy two Apple products,
Hmm.
there are chances that you will be able to buy at least 50% chances are there that you will buy a third product which is from Apple.
Yeah.
But if you have a third product from Apple ecosystem, definitely your fourth product will be from your Apple ecosystem.
Hmm.
So the ecosystem play is one of the most important thing which I have always believed into it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They're building the ecosystem and
So
they just hook on.
it's a network effect.
It's a network effect.
So the network effect plays a lot of long-term game.
Hmm.
When you're playing a network effect and when you're playing an ecosystem play,
Hmm.
your consumers are hooked to your ecosystem
Yeah.
and you'll never be able to exit out of it.
Hmm. That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. Any new features that you think will we should look out for in 2026 or 2027 in smartphones?
I think the most important thing is not about the feature because I think the phones will be providing all the
Or
features around it.
innovation, whatever, yeah. Whatever new is coming in
I
smartphones,
think the
according to
most important thing what the consumer should be look forward for is if they are using any phone, how can I trust them over a period of time?
you. Hmm.
Because data privacy and data, I think sovereignty will become one of the key factor back in 2030. We'll be talking only and only about data sovereignty in 2030.
Hmm.
And that's where I see the entire radical shift of consumers from 2026, 2027 to 2030.
It's gonna happen.
Right.
Data privacy.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else that you want to talk about?
See, everything else is more importantly where you have to understand that they've got a good camera, a good battery, a good display,
Hmm.
which solves their day-to-day purpose of the life.
True.
What is not solving them for them at this current point of time is the peace of mind that where the data is going out.
Hmm. Got it.
If that has been solved, I
Hmm.
think that is something what the consumers will be looking for a complete peace of mind.
Hmm.
Right.
When you hire someone, what are the three things that you look at that person?
Uh, Long-term sustainability, how loyal he would be,
Mm-hmm.
how much I can trust him.
Hmm.
Skill sets are not important for me.
Hmm.
His willingness to learn and adapt new things
Hmm.
is one of the first key criteria I look into it.
Okay.
Point number two, because what I think on point number one is that any skill set can be learned over a period of time.
True.
If you give him an exposure and opportunity,
Yeah.
anybody over a period of time can learn.
Hmm.
He should have a basic understanding.
True.
Skilling can be done.
Hmm.
Second, and the most important thing is hard work and long hours and high pressure.
Hmm.
That is the most important thing for me also, apart from the first thing, because long hours, high pressure, hard work
Hmm.
is something which people really need to believe in.
True.
Because until unless you are not able to put in that effort, you'll never be able to believe in what you are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will, if you really need to learn something, you need to put a lot of effort into it.
Hmm.
Right. And that willingness to learn for any of the person should be devoting too much of effort and time and hard work into it, right?
But someone can be smart and do things faster.
Smart definitely have to be there. Smarter, which means that you will be able to rationalize any of the task in a shorter span of time. But what you will never be able to do is you can execute in a shorter span of time certain things. What you'll never be able to do is to build relationship, strategize in a shorter span of time, and to understand company's vision, strategize and execute it. Execution will, you can use 10 different tools to execute it.
That's so right. So
Yeah.
I think strategy can be done by many people, but execution is what matters, and execution only comes when you put in the hard work, when you put
Yeah.
in, the hours. How much? I think I don't look at hours by the number of hours,
No.
but the output.
This
The
output.
output matters. That hey, are
See,
you
yeah.
cutting out the normal and being faster in your output or
Definitely,
better?
it's not just about hours,
Hmm.
but if you really want to be above the edge, you have to put number of hours.
Yeah.
You can never say that probably you will be able to execute any of the things
Hmm.
in a shorter span of time. I have always believed in shorter team, leaner team, and faster execution. What does a leaner team mean? Leaner, which means that probably one person has to pick up multiple roles.
Yeah.
When they are picking up multiple roles, definitely they have to execute all of them.
True. Yeah, the ability to pick more roles, I think that's what we also saw initially. A lot of smart people were coming, but they were high flyers. They could never work at Zip, right? It's only the guys who were able to go on ground, who were able to meet the customer, who were able to solve the problem for us without a degree, were welcomed a lot more.
That's what one thing I understood when I started this brand, that when you are at a stage of Maruti, never should build an engine or rent an engine from Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's true.
Which means they probably never hire a person.
Yeah.
Like if I hire a marketing person, he's from any bigger brands.
Right.
He's used to burning crores of money. My entire company budget would be lesser than that. So you need to hire right people who understands the vision and is being able to execute at that point of time. So never hire a Lamborghini when you are not in a capacity to build a Maruti.
Absolutely. Never hire a Lamborghini. In startups, to never hire a Lamborghini only.
Never hire a high paying people.
Yeah, which is Lamborghini that we're talking about.
इंडिया में ना ऑलरेडी 15 मिलियन से ज्यादा फ्रीलांसर्स हैं और ग्लोबली ये नंबर 2030 तक ना 1.5 बिलियन पहुंचने वाला है। इसका मतलब ना सिंपल है, बिजनेस के काम करने का तरीका ना बदल रहा है। आज कंपनीज हर चीज के लिए ना फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉइज हायर नहीं कर रही हैं, बल्कि जब जरूरत होती है ना तब स्पेशलिस्ट के साथ काम करती है, फास्टर, फ्लेक्सिबल और ज्यादा कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव भी। और एग्जैक्टली इसी चीज के लिए ना ऑस्डायर बना है। ऑस्डायर क्या है ना, एक फ्रीलांस मार्केटप्लेस है जो स्पेसिफिकली उन बिजनेसेस और फाउंडर्स के लिए डिजाइन किया है जो ना काम जल्दी कराना चाहते हैं, बिना किसी एजेंसी की कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के और ना ही बिना किसी लंबी हायरिंग प्रोसेस के। अब तुम सोचोगे कि इन कामों के लिए फाइवर और अपवर्क भी तो हैं ऑलरेडी। फेयर पॉइंट, लेकिन सुन लो ये ऑस्डायर ना बायर्स के लिए कैसे काम करता है। अगर तुम कुछ बिल्ड कर रहे हो, एक स्टार्टअप, एक प्रोडक्ट या फिर एक बिजनेस, और तुम्हें चाहिए हेल्प वेबसाइट डेवलपमेंट में, लोगो या ब्रांड डिजाइन में, वीडियो एडिटिंग में, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में, कंटेंट राइटिंग में, एआई सर्विसेज में या फिर फाइनेंस और ऑपरेशंस के काम में, तुम ऑस्डायर पे जाते हो, 900 से ज्यादा सर्विस कैटेगरी ब्राउज करते हो, फ्रीलांसर्स को फिल्टर करते हो, उनका पोर्टफोलियो, रिव्यूज और प्राइसिंग चेक करते हो और ऑर्डर प्लेस करने से पहले ना डायरेक्टली अपना प्रोजेक्ट उनके साथ डिस्कस कर लेते हो। अभी तक कोई लंबे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स नहीं, कोई एजेंसी ओवरहेड भी नहीं और ना ही कोई हिडन फीस। देखो, जो प्राइस दिखती है ना वही पे करनी है, नो हिडन चार्जेस। और हाँ, एक और इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है पेमेंट प्रोटेक्शन। तुम्हारा पेमेंट एक एस्क्रो अकाउंट में जाता है, मतलब फ्रीलांसर्स को ना तब तक पेमेंट नहीं मिलेगी जब तक आपका काम नहीं हुआ। तो ऑनलाइन काम कराना इससे बड़ा सेफ हो जाता है, स्पेशली अगर पहली बार किसी फ्रीलांसर के साथ काम कर रहे हो। अभी बायर्स के लिए ना एक लॉन्च ऑफर भी चल रहा है। नए बायर्स को पहले ऑर्डर पे ना 10% ऑफ दे रही है कंपनी, साथ में 1% कैशबैक भी। तो अगर तुम भी कुछ आउटसोर्स करने के बारे में सोच रहे थे तो भाई ये ट्राई करने का ना सही टाइम है। कोई सब्सक्रिप्शन नहीं, कोई कमिटमेंट नहीं, तुमको पे तभी करना है जब ऑर्डर करो। सो चेक आउट osdire.com, लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में।
So now we'll get to rapid fire. We'll ask you a few questions, and in fact, that will also possibly, teach a few people. What is the most overrated smartphone feature?
Megapixel war and AI war. Everybody wants to say that everything is AI, but they are all misleading ads. Megapixel is also misleading. It's not about just megapixel or AI. It's about hardware and software combination together. I always say HNS, which is hardware and software together, which makes the output better.
Yeah. And what is the most underrated feature?
Cooling system in the phone, which is liquid cooling system,
Oh.
which does one of the most important thing on the phone, which makes your phone keep cooler, but is one of the most underrated feature because you cannot oversell it. And that's the reason brands never speak about it.
Oh yeah, because उसके बिना तो phone hang करता होगा, right?
Phone का temperature अगर if it goes beyond 40 degree, the phone will start heating up and your phone will stop down suddenly. So you need to have that liquid cooling system on the phone around the battery to make sure that probably the phone stays below 30 and 35 degrees. Right?
Wow. Yeah. Sometimes ये आता है, your phone is overheated, huh? Any founders or personalities that you admire?
Steve Jobs. I do admire him because of his clear thinking and design philosophy. Philosophy of keeping things very simple rather than making it complicated.
Yeah.
Because today, what I understand when he first I heard about it, that keep it simple as a philosophy back in 2010, I didn't understood it quite clearly. But today I understand it more clearly. The reason because right now we pay money for making things simple, which people make it complicated.
That's true. Minimalism is the next new thing, but I think earlier people used to just complicate everything.
Yeah.
Apple just made it so simple.
Yeah.
That's so nice. What is your prediction for 2030?
Building trust. People will always believe in brands who can create trust among the consumers, not the marketing hype.
Trust is going to be the factor. Yeah, you talked about that. Any movies that every founder should watch?
I have not seen movies. I'm not into
Any
movies.
book that a founder should read?
Definitely, 48 Laws of Human Psychology. There are multiple books I would recommend, and something in history I would recommend from the Greek books. They should pick up any Greek war books, like Sun Tzu's book.
Sun Tzu,
is one of the best book. Is one of the smallest and thinnest book. Art of War, Sun Tzu's. I think that everybody should read it.
Yeah, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Any 2 business ideas that you want to give out on the show?
I think focus on building something which is your own, which means creating something IP, building long term on the value systems, because I think building IPs and hardware ecosystem right now is a need of an hour in India right now. And if you are into that boat, I think you will sail much faster.
Okay, since we do the founder notes on this podcast, one note that you would want to give out to every founder. In fact, we typically ask our guests to write that on the founder's notebook, right? Can you
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So one note that every founder should take away from Madhav, right? Who's done Realme, who's done Honor, and who's now building AI plus smartphone in India. And see, other founders have given notes. So would love to have a page of yours, right? Your note for the world. Amazing. I'll read it out. Think simple, build fast. Short-term thoughts and ideas will not pay your bills. Maybe a signature in the end, Madhav. Yeah. So nice of you. Thank you so much. Now, before we end it, we do our customary Zip plant to be given out, right?
Oh,
this
lovely.
is from Zip. We are the symbol of green.
Oh,
And
lovely.
we are doing that so that more and more green happen in the world. And before we wrap this, one question that you want to ask me, Madhav. I usually do that with the guests.
Oh, lovely. How's building Zip Electric now? And what do you think? Where will you be in next 5 years?
Oh, yeah. No, so I think this has been last 8 years of solving the EV ecosystem. And as you said that, one smartphone तो बन जाएगा, but उसके around ecosystem बनाना बहुत ज़रूरी था. तो हमने पहले यही देखा that manufacturers exist नहीं करते थे, financing exist नहीं करती थी, battery swapping exist नहीं करती थी, कुछ भी नहीं exist करता था, after sales exist नहीं करता था, right? So we actually started by solving the ecosystem one part at a time, right? And actually when the ecosystem got solved,
The beautiful thing that happened is that we got to 95% uptime. This industry is operating at a 50 to 60% uptime today, right? EV two-wheeler industry. A lot of OEMs are also not able to solve for. तो हमने पहले वो solve किया, right? I think for us, 2030 is going to be at least 100,000 fleets on the ground. Today we are 20,000, right? We turned profitable 8 months back. We're continuing to be profitable at least, and hitting EBITDA has become now the core in the business. And yeah, obviously we want to see a greener planet. We want to enable the gig economy. जो delivery partner है ना, उसके चेहरे पे smile देखनी है अपने को, और वो हम लोग 5,000 रुपए उसके हर महीने बचा के उसको दे देते हैं. तो वही चीज one step at a time करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. अभी सिर्फ 7 cities में है, possibly 7 countries. Why not? Inshallah.
Lovely.
Awesome. No, thank you so much for asking.
Best of luck for your journey. Right.
Thank you so much, and thanks for being such an amazing guest. I learned a lot, and I'm sure you all would have learned a lot as audience. Yeah,
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure.
Right.
Yeah.